Where do you sort of stand on where the energy debate sits at the moment?
Well, I mean, federally, we have a deeply dysfunctional debate on energy, and I don't even think it would be fair to call it a debate. Some moves at a state level in New South Wales, which have been positive, we were able to reach over the political divide and to get us rapidly to what I hope will be 100% renewable.
So would you define that as the biggest hurdle towards the energy debate, where you've got, as you were touching on, the government federally?
Well, we're not seeing a coherent energy policy come from the opposition either at a federal level. The federal opposition has taken a small target strategy when it comes to energy. I do think we've seen a consistent position from the Greens at a federal and at a state level. Our position is very clear. We see the most cost-effective and environmentally sustainable approach being to see a massive increase in public investment in electricity generation, renewable electricity generation, energy storage and energy transmission.
Getting back onto that idea of the idea of the public-owned energy sector and the 5 renewable zones you were talking about with the New South Wales state government, who would be the most impacted by these potential policy decisions, both in terms of an economic sense and the security nature of energy generation baseload capacity?
Well, I think ordinary consumers, ordinary residents are the ones who will be most impacted. And in terms of the New South Wales package, positively impacted, because we know we're going to have, a series of large coal power electricity generators go offline over the next 2 to 15 years. And each time one of those goes offline, we're going to need to have a substantial uplift in the amount of renewable energy and storage and associated storage.
Part of what my group is trying to do, it's sort of like it's research to a prototype of an app that could streamline sort of data relating to how the public could switch towards renewable energy. Where would you see the benefits in such an app?
I think to the extent an app could allow people to come together to form those kinds of community power stations effectively, I think that would be really, really positive. I think there's also a huge lack of transparency in the electricity market at the moment. I know that when some 2 years ago, just personally sought to, research where the most ethical and environmentally sustainable electricity could be sourced, there was no really independently verified, credible source that I could go to. So an app which gave people easy access to that information, an app that was credible, an app whose information wasn't supplied by a commercial source which had a vested interest in the space, I think that would be really useful.
And how should this app that shows the public where to go for renewable energy, how would it be promoted by the government of the day, whether it's New South Wales Liberals or even a Labor or Greens government such as yourself?
Well, I think the first step should be requiring electricity retailers to be fully transparent about where their energy is being sourced from. And in fact, a real-time app that was telling you where your energy was being sourced from at any particular time in the day would give people a better understanding of what is otherwise a very complex and opaque system. And it may well be that that's ultimately not possible to determine where those particular electrons have been sourced from for your particular home or your particular office, but at least knowing where the contractual source lay.
All right, so what would be the consequences if none of this comes to fruition, if the switch towards renewable energy is not made?
If we don't plan a transition, an orderly transmission to renewable energy, we are going to see potentially significant blackouts and brownouts as the aging coal-fired generators reach and exceed their end of life. They're already the most unreliable energy sources in the market.
Okay, well, Mr. Shoebridge, thank you very much for your time this afternoon. I'm very sorry I had to drag you away from the House. I imagine it would have been a very interesting debate going on down there.
Yeah, that's okay. It was question time, it wasn't answer time, so it's never that interesting.
Okay, just one more thing. The final product, would you like a copy of it for your own personal records when it's all finalised?
Yeah, that'd be nice, Connor.